Hey, Gearheads, and welcome on in to Shifting Gears Live on Sunday, March 12th, 2023. I'm Alan Bailey. William Byron going back to back in the Phoenix Desert, winning the NASCAR Cup race out there. His second victory in a row. You had Ryan Blaney coming home second, Tyler Reddick coming home third, Kyle Larson slipping to fourth on that restart, and Kevin Harvick taking 4 tires on that late race caution, coming home fifth, extending his top 10 streak. The chat is open, as you can see over there, actually, over there. So go ahead and drop your comments. What did you guys think of today's race? What did you think of the new package? What did you think of Mike Joy getting very salty on the Fox broadcast about, frankly, something that is very non-consequential to Fox, but very important to fans, kind of throwing fans under the bus? I saw a lot of you commenting on Twitter at that. At Hey Alan Bailey, if you want to get involved with the program on Twitter, but you could just drop a comment right over there as well. Looking really quick, taking off my watch so Siri doesn't talk to me the whole broadcast. A lot of stuff happening in the racing world. No F1 this weekend, no IndyCar this weekend. We did have a NASCAR Xfinity race yesterday in Phoenix, Arizona. Sammy Smith getting the victory in the number 18 Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota. Ken Roczen winning out at Indianapolis in Supercross. Cooper Webb taking over the points. We saw an epic battle in Supercross last night, man. We saw Ken Roczen just beating and banging right there and not really getting into it with Bam Bam, but battling very hard for that victory and getting that victory. Kickstart Kenny getting it done out there. We also had NHRA kind of kick off with the Gator Nationals down in Florida. You had Gage Harris scoring his first win in Pro Stock Motorcycle, was joined by Emil Motor Oil in the winner's circle by Mike Salinas, Matt Hagan, and Troy Collin Jr., all winning out at Gainesville in order to kick off the season. So pretty darn cool out there for them. You had, unfortunately, unfortunate news in Southern California locally here. Irwindale canceling their opening night, pushing it back to next weekend because of rain in the area. You had some major news in the NASCAR front when they head out to Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas later this year, with Jenson Button going to be racing for Rick Ware Racing in the number 15, supposedly with help from Stewart-Haas Racing, but I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing right now. I don't think anybody necessarily wants the Stewart-Haas's help. No offense to Stewart-Haas, they're just a little misfired right now, but Jenson Button going to be making 3 starts starting at COTA this year. Kimi Räikkönen going to be driving Project 91 car for Trackhouse Racing out at COTA, which is pretty darn cool as well. You also have Jordan Taylor, who's going to be running COTA for Hendrick Motorsports in the 9 car that was announced, with Josh Berry going to be in the 9 car for the foreseeable future. So tons of other news that we're going to get into later on in the program. Want to get you a finishing order from out in Phoenix. Ryan Blaney coming home second to William Byron, who goes back to back. First time since 2007. I was getting ready to graduate high school when Jeff Gordon won back-to-back, William Byron doing it for the very first time. So everybody's saying, well, is this his breakout year? And William Byron has kind of sort of been almost having a breakout year for the past 4 years. People have been saying, this is the year he breaks out. This is the year he breaks out. And it's like, okay, well, fool me once, fool me twice, ha ha ha, yeah, that old saying. But at the same time, if this is going to be the breakout year, it should be the breakout year. We're going to wait and see what happens on that. But William Byron winning out at Phoenix today. You had Ryan Blaney coming home second in the 12 car, Tyler Reddick third, best finish of the season for Rennick in his Toyota, and you had Chevy first, Ford second, Toyota third. Good parity up there. And then you had Larson coming home fourth in a Chevy, Kevin Harvick slipping to fifth in a Ford right there on the restart, Christopher Bell in Toyota sixth right there. Then you had Chase Briscoe in a Ford seventh. You had Kyle Busch battle back, finishing 8th in the number 8. Alex Bowman finishing 9th in his home state. Josh Berry getting his first ever top 10 finish in the number 9 car, looking pretty darn sporty. So all the Hendrick Motorsports Chevys in the top 10 right there. Amazing what a little bit of practice will get you when you're, a NASCAR Cup Series driver now for Josh Berry. You have Joey Logano, who dominated this race just a few months ago, struggling, running sub 20th all day, battles back for an 11th place finish. You had Ryan Pierce, who I don't even know where he was all day, but he finished 12th. You had Michael McDowell coming home 13th. Bubba Wallace, who was just hanging out outside the top 10 for most of the day, coming home 14th. You had Chris Buescher, who was frankly well outside the top 20 most of the day, coming home 15th. Austin Dillon 16th, 17th to Martin Truex Jr. Brad Keselowski, who was running in the top 5, comes home 18th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. coming home 19th. A.J. Allmendinger, after getting into a spin there late in the race, coming home 20th. Eric Jones playing the pit strat. Didn't necessarily work out for him, coming home 21st. You had Daniel Suarez, who was up there in the top 10 most of the race, who falls to 22nd. Same with Denny Hamlin, who was up in the top 10 most of the day, 23rd on the day. Same with Ross Chastain, 24th back there in that car as well. Fascinating that he slipped so much in that number 1 car. A lap down, you had Austin Cindric in the 2 car, 25th. Corey LaJoie, 26th. You had Justin Haley, 27th. Ty Gibbs, after wrecking twice right there, 28th. You had Noah Gragson also involved in that late race caution, 29th. 2 laps down, you have Ty Dillon in 30th. Zane Smith in the number 38, his first race in the number 38, coming home 31st. 32nd, the guy who's usually in the 38 car, Todd Gilliland, in the number 15 this time, coming home 32nd. Eric Almirola, who frankly made this race a heck of a lot more interesting, comes home 33rd. You have Cody Ware in the number 51, 6 laps down in 36th. Harrison Burton, 7 laps down. And you have BJ rounding out the field of 36 cars. So basically, if you and 2 of your buddies decided to go ahead and just take a car out to Phoenix and race this weekend, you would have finished this race. You would have gotten in just by showing up. That is a story that nobody seems to be talking about. The fact that NASCAR Cup Series car counts are staggeringly low. We only have 36 drivers on any given weekend. We haven't had fields this small in a very long time in the NASCAR Cup Series. So that is concerning to me. We used to, have 45 cars showing up on any given weekend, and where did those other 10 cars go? Well, it's a sign of the times, unfortunately. The chat is open. Let me know what you guys thought of today's race. Very curious to see if you guys actually liked the race out here today. I'm going to go ahead and put a poll up. Was today's Cup race in Phoenix good? Very curious to see what you guys have to say about this. And I'm actually adding a third option. I want to go ahead and get your guys' opinion on this. So that is now up in the chat, or it will be. Let me know what you guys think of that poll. Frankie in the chat. Fun ending, but kind of boring throughout. Not enough passing. I feel you. I really, 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 really do. Let me know in the chat, what did you guys think of today's race? Frankie, I do agree with you, bud. It wasn't enough passing today. It really wasn't. It was a so-so kind of weekend. Jeff Gordon in victory lane right now with William Byron. Good for them, man. Sincerely. I mean, it's cool that they got another victory. They need the victories. It's good for them. Oh, I'm looking at Danica and her weird romper sundress that has pockets. Yes, it's professional-ish looking, but when you have Mike Joy and you have Clint Boyer in suits and you have Danica in her weird romper on top of Danica not necessarily saying the correct things, you have Danica saying one thing and then Clint contradicts her 10 seconds later, or on-track action contradicts everything she just said. I literally don't think Danica said one correct thing all day. I'm being serious. And that is extraordinarily bad when you're on TV commentating a live NASCAR Cup race. I get it. Danica's there simply for a PR stunt. She looks good on TV. I get that. I really do. It's going to supposedly help the sport because supposedly you have people who won't watch these races who will watch it because they're hearing Danica's voice, but I don't think that that's how it works necessarily. I really don't. At least in my mind, it doesn't. It's just, it was weird. What if in the chat, I think the race shows it's not a season finale level event unless it gets a green white checkered. I could not agree more with you. What if I'm 100% with you on that one. Do we know why we go to Phoenix twice a year? Like, I'm being serious. Why do we go to this track twice a year? Yes, it was a sellout today. That is great. That is wonderful. This is like the, I want to say, third sellout that we've had in NASCAR this season so far out of the first technically 4 events. Like, that's pretty good. 4 or 5 events now. That's pretty darn good. But this race does not produce good racing. And you know why Phoenix sells out? There's nothing to do in Phoenix. Have you been to Phoenix? I spent 10 months in that hellhole. And I gotta tell you, there's literally nothing to do there. Unless there's a sporting event or going to the movies, there's nothing. There's nothing. It's in the middle of nowhere. Go hiking? Yeah, this is kind of sort of hiking weather. It gets into the 130s out there, and it snows out there occasionally. It's just, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. That's why this track gets a sellout crowd every time. And you know why we go to Phoenix twice a year? It's not because of the sellout crowd. It's because Scottsdale's right there. It's kind of, sort of near Scottsdale, kind of, sort of. The track is, I don't know why it's called Phoenix. It's nowhere near Phoenix, really, like in hindsight. I mean, that's like calling the distance between Fontana and LA. It's not, period. That's 50 miles. And no, it's not a 50-mile distance between Avondale, where this track is, and where Scottsdale and the Phoenix area is. It's more like maybe 20, 25 miles, but it's just so far south of anything. It's down there where there's essentially nothing, located kind of sort of close to a freeway. Yeah, great, but there's nothing down there. It's just not good, period. It's just, it's fine. And honestly, you got to realize Scottsdale has a lot of money. When people want to leave California because they're doing something illegal, they go to Phoenix. I know this because I worked for a very corrupt, rich white man in Orange County, and all of them moved out to Phoenix because they wanted to literally hide their money from the United States government. True story. That's where you go if you have a lot of money and you need a vacation home during a winter month. That's what Denny Hamlin did. Denny Hamlin spent the last 2-3 weeks out there, 3 weeks, I think, renting a vacation home with a bunch of his buddies, left his kids at home with the sitter, and basically was being a teenager out there. And I mean, yeah, great, but that's next level, money right there. But when you hang out with Michael Jordan, that's to be expected. And that's the clientele that NASCAR's trying to cater to. They're trying to sell suites. They're trying to sell packaging and sponsor deals. It's a big deal to be out in Phoenix. I agree with you. What if it is really, 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 really not a cup level finale event? I don't think so. I think it's a go out there at the beginning of the year once, part of the West Coast swing, and be done with it. I don't think we should go back to Phoenix twice a year. I really don't. But we will, because NASCAR really likes to cater to the rich white man, which I get. That's part of your demographic. You have to cater to that. But at the same time, you're compromising your ratings, you're compromising your TV audience, and you're compromising your core fan base. And if NASCAR is comfortable with that, great. Continue to go out to Phoenix. But NASCAR is looking to get away from Phoenix as the finale. It's just something that they just don't want, which I get. But at the same time, you need to acknowledge that you've been going there for the last few years, and it's really not good. I think it was very interesting that Joey Logano struggled today. It just goes to show, like, Logano, I don't think, deserved the championship last year. He played the game. He won the Vegas race on a strat, and then essentially did nothing for 2 weeks except prep for this one race, and essentially won out. And good for him. It got him a second championship. But I think people all know I don't want to say it's not earned. It's just, there was other more deserving drivers who should have won the championship last year. But that doesn't matter, because guess what? The championship trophy still says Joey Logano. The chat is open. Let me know what you guys thought of, honestly, not just William Byron's win out here, but the pit strat right there at the very end. Honestly, if I'm Kevin Harvick, I would have taken 2 tires. Seriously, you had 6 drivers stay out on 2 tires right there. Yes, 4 tires is obviously the move, but if I'm Kevin Harvick and I'm struggling on the short runs and I know I have a short run, then guess what? I repeat, you need to take 2 tires to just try it right there. But I get it. I mean, damned if you do, damned if you don't. And Harvick was damned, period, today. It's just, it is what it is. Josh Berry doing Josh Berry things, finishing 10th in his second start. He's good, no denying it. Baloney Burger on Twitter. Yeah, I agree, Baloney. I mean, Josh Berry, he caught a lot of flack last week. Everybody was saying, oh, yeah, you got that Hendrick 1, 2, 3, and you got that Josh Berry guy. Get him out of the car. Heck, even I was saying maybe he's not ready. And then this week, he actually spent the week in the sim talking with his crew, talking with Chase, actually figuring out what he needs in that 9 car to be good. And sure enough, he's kind of sort of hanging the top 15 all day long, and then right there at the end, boop, 10th place finish. That's pretty darn good right there in your second start. Do I think he can win a race? Honestly, if he's getting in the car at Martinsville, yes, he should win the Martinsville race, period. I mean that. He's the guy who is great at Martinsville. That's his track. He should win there. He should be very competitive there. Whether or not we will see that, I don't know. We're going to see what version of Josh Berry shows up and how good the car is that day and how things play out. But he should legitimately have a decent shot at a victory out there. I really do think that. Looking through some more of Twitter and what you guys were saying, the funny one that I saw was Mike Joy, you know, on the I don't even remember what movie this is from off the top of my head, but he's kind of cocking the gun like, complain about commercials one more time. I mean, Mike Joy, let's talk about Mike Joy for a second. He goes on the air and says, I'm going to say this once for all you keyboard warriors. It's our final green flag full commercial break here. Like, why would you call attention to that? Like, the commercials have been a hot button topic in NASCAR and with the NASCAR fan base because it is so bad over at Fox for years. And it's been especially bad this year. Why would you pour gasoline on that fire if you're Mike Joy? It just goes to show, like, and I almost put a tweet out about this and I didn't. He's not going to complain about the fact that he's got a new dumbass co-host in that booth every week. He's not going to complain about the fact that Clinton Boyer is up and down so many times and super unprofessional and steps all over him left and right. He's not going to complain about the fact that Mike Joy is an aging analyst who, hands down, is one of the better broadcasters. I'm not talking NASCAR. I'm not talking sports. I'm saying broadcasters of all time. One of the top 5 easily. I'm not joking. He's easily one of the best NASCAR motorsports broadcasters of all time. I'm saying of all time, period. Walter Cronkite stuff from Mike Joy. But he is aging. And he's starting to not do it gracefully, where he's making slip-ups and making mistakes. And that makes me sad because you're losing not your credibility, but you're damaging your legacy, Mike Joy. I truly hope that he has this season and maybe next season and then hangs it up, because I don't want to see what happened to Darrell Waltrip happen to Mike Joy, where he's struggling on the air, where he's borderline falling asleep, where he's flubbing words left and right. And we got that a lot from Mike Joy today and this season. Mike's not getting any younger, and I want to see him go out on top. I don't want to see him dwindle away to nothing on the air. And it's obvious Mike's been carrying the Fox broadcasts for years now. If I'm Fox, if I'm put in charge of Fox today, here's what I do to fix this garbage broadcast. I'm firing my race director. I know they just brought a new one in, but they're still using notes from last year, clearly. I'm probably firing the entire crew, because I can go down to any college station and seriously get better cameramen and women and better switchers that know what they're doing, because they are missing things on pit road. They are missing things on the racetrack. They've gotten away, thank God, from the super zoom in and super zoom out, and they've finally kind of sort of found a good common ground. I am going to Fox, and I am seriously cutting the commercial breaks in half. I'm charging more for on-screen ad times and a hell of a lot more, like double, for the actual breakaways. And we're only going to half-screen commercials if I'm in charge of Fox. And guess what? The numbers will reflect it. You'll be able to charge more once you do this for a race or two. Fox just doesn't have the cojones because they know they need to try to do something. That's step one. Step two, I'm getting a Mike Joy replacement now. I am training them up in the Truck Series, in the Xfinity Series, with Mike giving them notes in their ear, because Mike Joy is one of the better broadcasters, period. Use him. Use his knowledge. He's not able to think quickly on his feet anymore, but while he's here, he should be coaching the next generation to take his place. That's what I would do. But to fix the problem immediately, I'm firing Clint Bowyer. Well, demoting Clint Bowyer, putting him into the pre-race with Chris, because Chris Myers is great in the pre-race. He doesn't care about NASCAR at all, but he's good. He's competent. He can read a script. So let him do it with Clint and try to wrangle Clint in a limited capacity. I'm firing Michael Waltrip because the grid walk is absolutely stupid, pointless. Everybody hates it and groans and moans. I am putting in a new full-time analyst. I'm putting Larry Mack back into the booth, and I know Larry is salty. I'm literally going to write Larry a blank check because Larry is one of the better analysts in NASCAR history, period. I'm going to use him while we still have him under contract. I'm literally adding 2-3 zeros to the end of his contract to get him back into the booth with Mike while Mike is still here. And obviously, we all know that we have Kevin Harvick coming next year into the Fox booth, but I'm going to go out and find somebody else who can go in there, probably a Jamie McMurray, honestly, or a Parker Kligerman, because those two guys are pretty darn decent, and they're better than Clint. Clint's just so all over the place. No energy. Oh, he spun out. And then you have Dale Jr. Oh, he's spinning! Like, I want the Dale Jr. If I can get Dale Jr. to do a couple races on Fox, I'm doing it, man. Get Dale in there. I would absolutely love that. Jeff Burton, Dale Jr., that's my dream team right there. But who decides that one? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Though that's how I fix the Fox broadcast in a nutshell. Nick Bromberg on Twitter. Mike's Joy defensiveness regarding the Daytona 500 commercial criticism is obnoxious. He's a pro. The commercial criticism was valid whether he agrees with it or not, but being defensive ahead of ad breaks in the race after the 500 isn't the pro way to handle that feedback. Nick, I 100% agree with you. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Jeff Burton on Twitter earlier today. Today we will race with the lowest amount of downforce in a very long time. I love that we have drivers that want their jobs to be more difficult and that NASCAR is willing to make changes so that we can create better races for the fans. Drop the green. Yeah, I agree. Like, NASCAR, I think, moved in a pretty darn good direction with this package. I think it was definitely a good short-term Band-Aid. More work needs to be done, and I tweeted this out. We can't tell, we won't be able to tell really until later this season at Martinsville and Richmond in particular, whether or not this package works on other short tracks. Phoenix is kind of a garbage racetrack. It's a mid-tier racetrack that produces okay racing. NASCAR's done some pretty epic things to the track in order to make it better and more exciting by paving the inside of the track, saying, yeah, you can go ahead and drive down there. And it does make for some cool shots on restarts. It's pretty darn cool to see them 5 wide down there on, technically this is a short track, but it's a mile-ish, a little over a mile, so I don't consider it a short track. It's just a weird hodgepodge racetrack. But I mean, it's just crazy to me. Pete Pistone on Twitter. Remember, Harvick hasn't won since 2018 at Phoenix before the track was reconfigured. So take all that track as his playground talk with a grain of context. But since then, his average finish is still a respectable 5th. Yeah. I mean, he finished 5th today. And for the last 10 years, 20 races out here at Phoenix, he has finished 10th or better. Like, that is extraordinarily, extraordinarily impressive. You honestly have to give him credit for that. Let's talk about what happened with the 10 car, man. I mean, first off, Eric Almirola making the last 2 very boring races very tolerable. So thank you, Eric, for not retiring and being the reason that the cautions come out. Because, heck, we need a reason for the cautions to come out. And Eric Almirola is going to provide that. Good for you, Eric. His tire broke. Well, more specifically, the rim broke, which is just so odd. It's like this is one of the crazier things that I had seen in the Cup Series in a hot minute. And I know all the keyboard warriors, as Mike likes to call them, are going to scream, oh, the single hub's flawed. It's going to kill people. No, calm down, guys. Calm down. This was a single wheel. How many wheels have broken in the last 2 seasons in the Cup Series? Only a handful. This is an isolated incident, and I can tell you from manufacturing things, having a very, 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 very brief knowledge of that, not everything's perfect. You can do everything right in the factory, and there will be that one part that fails for some stupid reason that has a tiny imperfection in it for whatever reason that can't be controlled. It's just part of making things. So yeah, Eric Almirola had a bad wheel. It wasn't something that broke under the car. It wasn't a tire that went flat, which, by the way, I think it's interesting that the crew was able to get the tire carcass off of the hub and go, oh, yeah, there's no punctures in it. Really? There was no punctures in it? Because it was kind of like skating on that, carcass for like half a lap, like almost a full lap. So you're telling me there wasn't any punctures in it? Like, come on. And maybe that's just something they said over the radio to calm down Eric, but I don't know. It's very, very, very weird that happened. I saw a lot of people trash talking about the fact that Phoenix is the location for the championship race. I agree. I really, 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 really agree with that. But I mean, again, we talked about it. There's not much you could do about it. There was something that caught my attention that happened in the world of short track racing that I do want to talk about for a second here. You have this weird incident that happened over the weekend. I'm looking for the exact context of it real quick. Landon Huffman on Twitter pointing out that at Hickory there was a mysterious rule that that came out that if you do not make 20 laps under one event, you cannot race the other event. The promoters at Hickory did not say this. There is no official written rule about this. This is something that was kind of word of mouth. It wasn't even brought up in the drivers' meeting. It's something that was brought up in the past in the drivers' meeting at Hickory locally. And as somebody who works at a local short track, I could tell you, if it's not in our rule book, we put it in our rule book. It's not hard to adjust your rules. And that happens. Mid-season, there will be a rule change or something happens. That's not totally uncommon. It happens. And you had a rule change happen at some point in the past. The track promoter decided, yes, we're going to go ahead and enforce this on Landon Huffman, the defending track champ. And it meant that him and a handful of other drivers, because they were caught up in an incident during one race, couldn't race another race. Huh? The only time when one race should affect the other one is the starting lineup is if you invert them or use the finishing order from race 1 to determine the starting order for race 2 to avoid a second qualifying effort. Makes no sense to DQ somebody while you're on the pace laps, while your track officials have lined everybody up. The fact that you had track promoters, people at the racetrack, other racers go, huh? Openly and publicly about this out at Hickory just tells me that the people at Hickory really probably don't know what they're doing. We're waiting for track promoter Kevin Piercy to address this publicly. He said that he would at some point tomorrow, which means he's still thinking of up an excuse in order to justify this really bad decision that he made. So, I mean, I feel bad for Landon and everybody else who was affected by this. It's just really stupid. We've had moments where our track promoter at Orange Show Speedway in San Bernardino, California, has said in a driver's meeting, I'm surprising you guys right now with a tiny change to the track configuration. But it was for a sport compact race, adding a dog leg on the track just to make things easier. Or that he would invert the track, meaning instead of racing counterclockwise, we were racing clockwise, just to change things up in a series that frankly has a lower car count that needs a little bit of excitement injected into it just for the fun of it. And it worked. Drivers were like, okay, cool, we'll do that. We never, to kick somebody out before the race even starts, like that's just bad, man. Start them in the back and let them work their way through the field. That's always good fun racing. But I mean, Hickory decided, no, we're going to go ahead and do that. I mean, just absolutely crazy. Um, Shout out to Chandler Smith for the kid for out driving Kyle Busch, who was struggling in the Xfinity Series in the Colic racing car. I told you Colic was off this season. Y'all didn't believe me. Y'all thought I was nuts, but guess what? When Kyle Busch gets in your Xfinity car and is struggling to finish top 10, y'all got a problem. Y'all need to work on that. Which is crazy because Colic was like OG, like really overpowered for like a hot minute. Oh, they were OP, I should say, for a hot minute in the Xfinity Series. And then when they started the Cup program, their Xfinity program got diluted, and that's kind of where it is now and has been for the last few years. So I don't know if they'll figure it out. Their lightning in a bottle's probably gone right now. They need to kind of find new lightning and rebottle it for their sakes. But I mean, 5th, ninth, and 10th in the Xfinity race for them yesterday, and then today they come home. I'm legitimately looking for these guys in the running order. I mean, AJ finished 21st in the 16, and the 31 finished 29th, 2 laps down. So, I mean, 1 lap down and 2 laps down for their cars on Sunday. So, I mean, it goes back to what do you want to be good at? If you're a driver who is in subpar equipment, who is struggling on Sunday, would you rather finish mid-pack multiple laps down on Sunday, or would you rather contend for race victories on Saturday? Personally, I'd rather go out and have some fun on Saturday and compete for wins. Yes, I know the payout on Sunday is a lot better than the payout on Saturday, but at some point you got to ask yourself, is it worth it? I'd rather make millions racing a NASCAR Xfinity car, winning races, contending for championships, than kind of sort of make millions putting along, finishing multiple laps down in the Cup Series. That's me personally. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. The race poll, 100% of you so far, so. With the poll was today's Cup race in Phoenix good. I got to agree. It was so. We had moments of like, oh, is this going to be over? This is boring, bleh. And we had moments of whoa on the restarts. There was a very interesting mix that was happening. But overall, no, I'll say it. It was not a good race. I don't think that this package helped, but I think the problem is more Phoenix than anything, really. By the way, shout out to Monster Energy and the Beast for changing up their car a little bit. A lot of people gave them flack with the Auto Club car because you had this Beast logo that was so tiny. It had a great personality, as Austin Cindric would say. Just very, very small logo, just above the wheel well, right in front of it, and it was hard to read. Like, I was this close to it, and I couldn't read that logo. Like, I don't understand how you expect your fans to see it up in the stands or on TV. So they kind of walked back on the eyeball thing that was next to the 45, and they put the Beast logo there, and above the wheel well they put hard Monster logo, 6% alcohol. Better-ish, I guess, but I mean, Monster Energy continuing to not live up to their potential with paint schemes. I mean, their cups, their product has better artwork than their cars. I don't understand why you literally don't copy and paste that artwork from the Ultra cans or one of the other 7 million flavors you have onto that car. That car should be running a different paint scheme every week. It should be a different shade with a different flavor every week. I think that the people at Monster seriously are failing, but they have weird rules with the Monster logo in general. Like, there's certain things that they like and don't like to do. They're weird with merchandise. So I know that this deal with Tyler came through at the last minute. It came through a few weeks before Daytona, but still, this is just, it's very, very, very odd. And their hard seltzer is not the best, let's just say. You know what is really good? Dubby.gg. You can see that little logo right over there. Check out Dubby.gg and use promo code Allen10 at checkout for some of the best all-natural energy drinks you can find right now on the internet. They have no calories, no sugar, no fillers, no additives or anything artificial or chemically in there. It's good, clean energy without the crash. So check out Dubby.gg. Use promo code Allen10 at checkout. So yes, it was a sellout today. Good for them. Honestly, it's hard not to complain about the commercials. That's kind of taking the whole cake right now, honestly, out here. Like that's the thing. Shout out because on this date in 2004, NASCAR 3D, the IMAX experience, was released in theaters. Y'all remember that one? I know people out in certain parts of the country down south were waiting in line for 4 or 5 hours to get into an IMAX theater to watch that thing, and it's a 45-minute movie that looked cool in the moment, but I remember going to see that thing thinking, that's it? I mean, it was cool. It was more about the experience of IMAX than anything, but it just was very, very, very odd. Just weird is the only thing I can really say about that. But I mean, looking through the rest of the messages, thank you guys for tuning in today. Um, it's just it's very weird to see everything that happened out at Phoenix today. I'm a little bummed, man. I'm a little bummed because frankly, we should be at this point. We should be concerned that NASCAR really doesn't know what this car is doing now. NASCAR wanted this car to be less expensive for the teams. It kind of sort of is, but because of parts failing and crashes and things, it's not really saving money. We're not really seeing that yet. NASCAR wanted this thing to produce more winners. We saw that last year. We might see that this year, but I don't think so. They wanted to see more, competitive racing where we saw more passes under green, where we saw more things happening on the racetrack that would have made us go, wow. We didn't really get that. This thing was supposed to be safer. It took a massive step backwards, and it put multiple drivers in the hospital, and it almost killed Kurt Busch at Pocono in a qualifying crash. Like what? So odd. So overall, this car is failing. It has failed almost across the board in every single way. And the fact that you had this car and you had other drivers comparing this to the 550 package. We're getting back to the 550 package. The fact that it's no longer a good car to race on the cookie cutter mile and a halves is not good. The fact that Auto Club was a good race but not a great race compared to last year's race is worrisome. The fact that we went to Las Vegas and we saw just a terrible race. Like, I'll say it, that was a terrible race. The fact that we went to Phoenix today and we saw another meh race that only got good when we had an issue and a late race caution. That's what it takes for it to get good. Like, that is highly worrisome. So I'm concerned. I'm deeply concerned about this car, and that NASCAR has no direction and no focus right now with the car competitively. That is concerning. That is worrisome. Get you a look at the driver standings real quick here. Not available yet from NASCAR, actually. Thanks, NASCAR. Appreciate it, guys. Again, the final finishing result out at Phoenix today. William Byron winning for the second time in a row out at Phoenix, Arizona, over Ryan Blaney in the 12th car. Tyler Reddick third. You had Hendrick teammate Kyle Larson coming home fourth. Kevin Harvick finishing fifth, with Christopher Bell coming home sixth. Chase Briscoe, who won this race last year, seventh. Kyle Busch in the number 8 coming home eighth. Alex Bowman coming home ninth in his hometown race. Josh Berry in the number 9 subbing for Chase Elliott coming home 10th. You had Joey Logano, who won this race a few months ago, coming home 11th, well off the pace. You had Ryan Pierce 12th. Michael McDowell 13th, 14th Bubba Wallace, 15th we find Chris Buescher, Austin Dillon 16th with Martin Truex Jr. 17th, 18th to Brad Keselowski. You had the Daytona 500 champ Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 19th, AJ Allmendinger 20th, 21st goes to Eric Jones, 22nd to Daniel Suarez, Denny Hamlin 23rd with Ross Chastain 24th, Austin Cindric 25th. A lap down, you have Corey LaJoie in the 7 car finishing 26th, 27th to Justin Haley. The rookie Ty Gibbs getting into it on the racetrack, into the wall, coming home 28th. Noah Gragson 29th, Ty Dillon 30th. 31st goes to Zane Smith in the number 38, with the normal driver of the 38, Todd Gilliland, coming home 32nd in the number 15 Ford. Eric Almirola 33rd, 34th to Cody Ware, 35th to Harrison Burton, and BJ McLeod 36th last on the field. Average speed of the race was 105 miles per hour. A little over 3/10 of a second was your gap. It was literally a 3 hour and 18-second race. A little too long, in my opinion. Just a whittle too long. Just a whittle too long. Stephanie, in the chat, hey Alan, do they still have the corn dog stand out in front of San Bernardino? I don't know what you're talking about. Stephen, I don't know. If you're talking about Orange Show Speedway, I don't believe we have a corn dog stand. No, I don't think they do, honestly, to answer your question. But William Byron getting his 6th NASCAR Cup Series victory, out in Phoenix today. Congratulations to him. Maybe this is the year that he finally lives up to his potential and he finally has the breakout year. He does have a Casey Kane kind of feel to his career where he's going to win a race, a couple times a year. He'll have a good season here or there where he rattles off 3-4 victories, but I don't think he's ever going to contend for the championship and ever really be a contender. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is the year that William Byron finally puts on his big boy hat. He definitely has put on that big boy hat the last 2 weeks, and will find some speed and go out there and contend. But for now, I'm not feeling it. I can't say, yes, that is a championship contender. The fact that you have a multi-winner this early in the season tells me we're not going to see 16-plus winners this season. I don't feel like we are. A lot of people are saying, nah, we're not going to see that, and I kind of agree with them. We're still waiting for the actual points report from NASCAR. They're still kind of figuring that out. Good for NASCAR, trying to figure out their own point system. But back-to-back for Willie B., it is a big move. It's a big move for him to get multiple victories this early on, but it doesn't feel like a championship run to me yet. We're way too early on in the standings, in the season, I should say, to actually make that call. But then again, we might see something interesting. Heading out to Atlanta next week, super speedway race. Hold on. I mean, it's going to be a shot for a bunch of drivers who don't normally run up near the front to contend, but honestly, I do not like, I really do not like New Atlanta. I miss Old Atlanta. Old Atlanta was awesome. I really do think that is where we should have been. We should have repaved that place and kept it as is. I hate that we added another super speedway for whatever reason. So, kudos on them. But overall, not a fan. And again, we have just ended the poll. So was today's race good? So according to you guys. I 100% agree with you. Also in the chat, Stefan, they used to have a corn dog stand out in front before when you went to the grandstands. My dad and uncle raced there in the 70s. The corn dog was always there in the 80s and 90s. Honestly, no, we don't have a corn dog stand out there right now. We have a handful of food vendors, and I believe they have corn dogs. I could be mistaken, though. I haven't gotten a chance to partake in all of the food out there, but they actually did take down what was a building that they used for beer cells out at Orange Show Speedway. They demoed that this offseason. We all showed up and went, where's the stand's gone? So it's fine, though, because they still have a tent out there, and they come out with a very, very, very nice bar, and last call is usually with about 10 laps to go in our final race. So we serve beer all night long out there, and we do have some affordable prices out there at Orange Show Speedway. Check out orangeshowspeedway.org in San Bernardino, California if you want to come on out for our next race. I literally every night give out the chance to drop the green flag to anybody who wants it. You want it, get a 50-50 ticket. We are raffling off the chance to drop the green flag to get cool prizes all night long, and there's a whole lot of cash on the line at the end of the night too, so it's pretty darn cool. We have a whole lot of fun out there. Our next race is on April 22nd. You can check out orangeshowspeedway.org for more information. Do have a couple of other things to go through here. What else is on our to-do list agenda here? So if you're just joining us or if you're joining late, Ken Roczen taking the Supercross win in Indianapolis over Bam Bam last night. Cooper Webb does take over your points lead, so things are going to get interesting in there. Sammy Smith winning the NASCAR Xfinity race out at Phoenix yesterday as well. John Force kicking off his 47th season in NHRA this weekend. Irwindale's opening night that was scheduled for last night pushed to next Saturday. Same with Paris Auto Speedway in Paris, California, because of rain in Southern California. NASCAR adding the choose rule for road courses, and cup practice at COTA will happen, thank God. Jenson Button making his NASCAR debut at COTA with Rick Ware Racing in the number 15. You have Colic Racing who nabbed dirt late model Superman for the Bristol dirt race in the number 13 Cup car. You have William Byron, who's going to be racing 3 races for KBM in the number 51 HendrickCars.com Chevy, which is pretty darn cool. You had Kimi Räikkönen, who's going to be driving the Project number 91 car at COTA for Trackhouse again this season. You have Hendrick Motorsports, who announced that they're going to be running the number 17 Chevy in the Xfinity Series for 4 races in 2023. We found out this week that Josh Berry going to be driving the number 9 for Hendrick until Chase is back, with Jordan Taylor running out at COTA, and supposedly your NASCAR's most popular driver, Chase Elliott, going to be back in the car in about 5 weeks' time. We'll have to wait to see how he recovers and how he progresses at that point. But a lot of stuff happening in the world of motorsports. Next weekend, we got a whole lot more on tap. We've got NASCAR heading out to Atlanta. We have NHRA, I believe, is off. We have Formula One kicking off again, and we're still on a break with IndyCar. So tons of cool stuff. We do have the NASCAR iRacing Coca-Cola Series that's going to be coming back this next week. Looking forward to that one. And on our channel, I am pleased to announce, because I know you guys have wanted it, we do have the NASCAR Dirt to Daytona series coming back for the first time in over a year. After a year away from the channel, we're finally coming on back with it here on the channel. We actually have Dirt to Daytona, a couple of those recorded, an iRacing race coming, and we of course have more of NASCAR Heat 5 coming to the channel as well. So make sure that you mash that subscribe button down below so that you do not miss a thing. Want to thank you all so much for coming out, hanging out with us all night long. It's a bit of a different look, I know. I'm still moving in stuff. You can see my Daytona flag that I found that's covering a display case that's probably going to have some pops in it. My new NASCAR posters up. This sign may or may not have come from Auto Club Speedway. Can't confirm or deny. And we've got tons of other cool memorabilia in that display case as well. We're probably going to go through a lot of it. I'm excited because I actually found a piece of Jeff Gordon's 2002 Bristol Night Race win where he bumped and run Rusty Wallace. I have a portion of that car. It is right there actually in my display case, literally right there in a little protective sleeve. It's literally just like a little piece, maybe that big, just a little tiny piece, but it has a great personality. So good for it. But we're going to go ahead and be signing off for the night here. Want to thank you all so much for watching. We're going to be back next week, about half an hour, 45 minutes, however much we're going to do out here. Make sure that you check out Dubby.gg. Use promo code Allen10 at checkout. And we also have the American Racing Network logo here. That channel, that YouTube channel, is going to have these live streams put up there as like an archive, as well as here on at Hey Alan Bailey. So check out that as well. Hopefully going to be doing some Allen Battle stuff in the near future as well with my wife. Once we literally finish unpacking, because all of the crap in my house has been shoved out of frame just for this shot. And as soon as it's done, it all kind of comes back because this is the office and everything's kind of all over the place. And I cleared out a storage unit and found that case and this flag and a bunch of other stuff. So cool stuff's going up. I'm enjoying all the crap I'm finding, but it's good times, and I might be taking some stuff on eBay here in a minute. So I'll let you know. Keep an eye on my Twitter at Hey Alan Bailey. But for Shifting Gears Live on Sunday, March 12th, 2023, I'm Alan Bailey. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you at the track. Good night, gearheads.